For establishment of functional guidance counseling departments in schools. Federal government commences disbursement of support fund for tertiary education system. Conference in protests spread across Tanzania amid release of elections results. And in sports, the Tigress head coach Reina Wakama gets new leadership role at Hive Basketball Club, United States. And now the details. I am Mike James. Lagos State House of Assembly has urged Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to direct the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Tolani Ali Balogun, to establish functional guidance and counseling department in all public primary and secondary schools across the state. The resolution followed a motion moved by the Chairman, House Committee on Basic Education, Musumola Songodara, representing Surulere Constituency 2, during the plenary session presided over by the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa. Presenting the motion, Songodara emphasized that education should not only focus on imparting knowledge, but must also cater for the emotional, social, and moral development of young people. According to her, a significant number of students in Lagos State face various psychological and behavioral changes, including peer pressure, academic stress, examination malpractice, truancy, substance abuse, courtesy, and career indecision, all of which adversely affect their well-being and academic performance. After extensive deliberations, the House resolved that the Ministry of Education should recruit and deploy professional counselors to schools across the state. The lawmakers also urged the ministry to organize continuous training and capacity building programs for counselors to keep them updated with modern practices. The House also resolved that the ministry should collaborate with relevant stakeholders, including parents, civil society organizations, traditional institutions, mental health experts, and donor agencies to provide facilities, materials, and public awareness campaigns that will strengthen counseling services in schools. Lagos State Government, through the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations, in collaboration with relevant federal government agencies, has organized a sensitization program for public servants to curb human trafficking, smuggling, and irregular migration. Commissioner for the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations, Benga Oyerinde, described the sensitization as a strategic intervention to educate public servants on and strengthen institutional capacity against human trafficking. He urged all participants to act as ambassadors of enlightenment, taking the message beyond the auditorium and into their communities. Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, lauded the Lagos State government for taking a proactive stance in addressing human trafficking and unsafe migration through consistent sensitization and education. Dabiri Erewa emphasized that even educated, ambitious youths now fall prey to sophisticated trafficking syndicates disguising false job opportunities abroad. And now to the rest of the stories. The federal government has commenced the disbursement of funds under the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund, designed to strengthen staff welfare, institutional productivity, and innovation across Nigeria's tertiary education system. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa said the welfare was an initiative of President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. Alausa said the program had transitioned from planning to full implementation, with more than 9,000 staff of tertiary institutions receiving payment in the first year. This, he said, represented 28% of the 33,000 verified applicants drawn from 219 federal and state tertiary institutions across the federation. Alausa said the first phase of disbursements covered both academic and non-academic personnel in a 30-70 ratio, reflecting the government's inclusive approach to supporting all categories of staff in the nation's higher education institutions. The Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, ACPN, has called on the federal government to immediately sanction companies and pharmacists involved in illegal pharmaceutical activities across federal health institutions. National Chairman of the ACPN, Eze Igwekama raised the alarm over what he described as an entrenched culture of disregard for the law in federal hospitals, alleging that such companies and pharmacists are unlawfully operating within public health facilities under public-private partnership arrangements. Igwe said some hospital management and regulatory authorities are turning a blind eye to the practice, insisting that the Federal Ministry of Health has failed to enforce existing laws governing drug distribution in public hospitals. He stressed that strengthening Nigeria's drug supply chain requires transparent procurement, protection of drug revolving fund accounts, adherence to good pharmacy practice, and expanded support for local drug manufacturers. In some foreign news, protests have escalated in major cities across Tanzania as opposition supporters denounce Wednesday's presidential and parliamentary elections as a sham. Hundreds of demonstrators also crossed into Kenyan territory, barricading roads, lighting bonfires, and tearing down posters of President Samia Hassan along the way. Kenyan police said 2 people died after fleeing run-in battles with Tanzanian police. Protesters accused the government of undermining democracy as the main opposition leader is in jail and another opposition figure was disqualified from the election, bolstering Samia's chances of winning. Anger grew on Thursday after the Electoral Commission started announcing results, with Samia getting nearly 95% of the vote in southwestern Mbe province. And over to sports news. Head coach of Nigeria's women's national basketball team, the Tigress Rena Wakama, has been appointed head coach of Hive BC in the Unrivaled Basketball League 2025-2026 season. Unrivaled is an 8-team women's basketball league in the United States, co-founded by WNBA stars Brenna Stewart and Nafessa Collier in 2023 and made its debut in January 2025 with 6 teams. The league announced its head coach lineup for the second season on its website, confirming Wakama's appointment alongside 7 others across the league's 8 clubs. Wakama led the Tigress to back-to-back FIBA Women's AfroBasket titles in 2023 and 2025 and guided the team to a historic quarterfinal berth at the Paris Olympic Games. She will take charge of one of the league's 2 expansion franchises, as Unrivaled will enter its second campaign in January 2026. That was our news at noon. But just before we go, do not pack at or near a road crossing. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, on Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs. It's live on YouTube, Traffic Radio 961. Visit our website, www.trafficradio961.ng. You can also listen to Lagos Traffic Radio live on My Lagos app for timely updates. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration completed and inaugurated Ikoyi network of roads, McDonald Road, Lateef Jakande Road, Milverton Road, and Thompson Avenue in Ikoyi, Etiosa local government? You can always get details on the Legacy Government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State House of Assembly has urged Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to direct the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Tolani Ali Balogun, to establish functional guidance and counseling departments in all public primary and secondary schools across the state. The federal government has commenced the disbursement of funds under the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund, designed to strengthen staff welfare, institutional productivity, and innovation across Nigeria's tertiary education system. We also told you that protests have escalated in major cities across Tanzania as opposition supporters denounced Wednesday's presidential and parliamentary elections as a sham. In sport, head coach of Nigeria's women's national basketball team, D Tigress, Irena Wakama, has been appointed head coach of Hive BC in the unrivaled Basketball League 2025-2026. And for contacts with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Adewale Olokboroku. Thank you, Lagos, for listening. My name is Mike James. Good afternoon.